Call the March 17th, 2021 City Council meeting to order. We're going to have Commissioner Bankson do the invocation, pledge, and fact of the day.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you once again as we gather here. We thank you for your favor upon this land. We thank you for your help and for your hand. Lord, we ask you just to bring us together again as a people and give us wisdom as we make the decisions that affect so many. Help us to make the wisest decisions for the best forward, and we thank you for it in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And the fact of the day, March 16th, 1802. Congress creates the United States Military Academy, the first military school in the United States. The purpose of the school being to educate and train young men in the theory and practice of military science. The academy is located at West Point on the west bank of New York's Hudson River. In 1877, the first African-American cadet graduated from the U.S. Military Academy, and in 1976, the first female cadets were admitted. The academy is now under the general direction and supervision of the Department of the U.S. Army and has an enrollment of more than 4,000 students. That's for today. And happy St. Patrick's Day.
And happy St. Patrick's Day, yes. Okay. All right, anybody have any corrections, additions, subtractions from the minutes? If not, look for a motion to approve minutes.
So moved.
Got a motion by Commissioner Velasquez.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Becker. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Edward, any changes to the agenda?
There are no changes to the agenda, Mayor.
Okay. First up, presentation by Edward Bass and a good friend of ours, Robert Agrusa. A former good friend, now that he's left.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. So this presentation is something that I know we've all are excited to see. I will tell you, I've seen a sneak preview of it. It is really, really good. I think you're going to be very happy with what you see. It's something that's been, that we've needed to help show off our city. As you know, back in December of 2019, we established a partnership to work with the Apopka Chamber of Commerce and to identify some of our future economic development needs, some revitalization and relocating of the opportunities that we have here to be able to show off some of our opportunities and some of our jewels and things that we've got. So if you recall, back when we set our major objective, when they set the major objective, the chamber set the major objectives, the first thing that we really wanted to focus on was being able to develop a website. So Robert Agrusa is here, and he is going to walk you through, show you all of the pieces of the website and everything they've put together. They've done a really, really good job. There were 7 big sponsors or investors that helped get this up off the ground, get this up and running as well. You have, the Chamber, the city, Coca-Cola, Mullinex, Seacoast, Collier Companies, and Binge Development. So I think it's important, that we recognize them because, that without them, that it wouldn't be possible. They came to the table as well. So I think, again, you're gonna like what you see. So I'm gonna let Robert kind of walk you through the presentation, and then at the end we can have some questions. And if there's certain things you like or want to see as we're going through it, don't ask those. Don't be afraid to ask those questions, and we'll go further into those sections. So with that, I'll turn it over to Robert.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Edward. I really appreciate that introduction there. Welcome, Mayor and Commissioners. It's so wonderful to see you here on this Wednesday evening. Haven't been gone too long, but I do miss you guys, and it's been great to come back here tonight to celebrate this progress and this work that I was hoping to finalize a few weeks ago, but we had a few hiccups, and if anything taught us last year during COVID that you had to learn with some patience, especially with technology. And so we are excited that after the last year of us working together with our economic development partners, working with our city, working with our stakeholders throughout the Apopka area, we have come together and to produce what I believe is a really amazing product that's going to be very beneficial to the city, to those of our citizens, and to those who are looking to either start a business, grow your business, or relocate your business, which we'll talk about here in just a few minutes. You know, Apopka is a hidden gem here in the northwest quadrant of Orange County. And for far too long, we haven't been able to tell our story. And so we are excited to unveil this. And what I wanted to give you out to notice is this site was built in 3 parts. First was about a brand and about building around an identity. The second was to talk about all of our properties and opportunities for growth and development. And thirdly was a resource center. So there's kind of all those 3 components, and I'm going to kind of walk through each of those here over the next couple of minutes. So first, I want to showcase what we are, and we are the Apopka Growth Alliance. And for those of you probably can't see it too well from sitting from your seats there, but it's a very clear picture right there. And if you'll notice, it's kind of slanted on the corner there. Well, that's actually our amphitheater. And the identity behind this brand was to showcase that we are projecting to the outside communities why Apopka is such a great place to do business and to come and grow. The Apopka Growth Alliance kind of stems from that. You know, this is an alliance between the city, the chamber, and a variety of our partners in the community and business partners. You also see the tricolors. The tricolors represent different segments of business here in our community, from small business, medium-sized businesses, and of course, our large corporations that are here in Apopka. And so really collaboratively together is where we came up with this brand. And so I think it's a really unique color scheme, and also I think it really identifies Apopka based on one of our hidden locations, you know, here, and it's that our amphitheater. It's one of the unique locations in all of Central Florida that we just so happen to have in our backyard here. So with that, I'm going to kind of go through this, and I might go a little fast. So if you have any questions, certainly I'm happy to stop and be able to showcase it. But really, like I said, it breaks it up into 3 major subsections. Really, actually 4, really. But who we are and relocate your business, which is all about bringing in new businesses into our community. Grow your business is based on those who have an idea and want to start a business on their own and to find resources to be able to create their own business. And then lastly, life in Apopka, to really talk about why our community and our quality of life is such an amazing place. So with that, as you'll see, right here, we are welcome to the city of Apopka, and really shows you a snapshot really from the state of Florida and where we are located geographically. Why the Apopka area? You really see within our community and really in this northwest part of Orange County, we have over 150,000 residents that are across our community. We have over 27,000 acres of beautiful parks and recreational facilities, 394 miles of biking and walking trails, and experience a unique local culture through arts, dining, and entertainment. And so through this site, and obviously you can see further down at the bottom, you can see all those investors that Edward spoke about here, that we are so thankful for their support because this was a public-private partnership. And as many of you may recall, in that partnership, the city had asked the chamber to raise $15,000 towards this and other efforts. Well, we were proud to say that we raised $25,000 in that effort from the private sector. So we went above and beyond, and I believe that there's going to be more emphasis upon supporting these types of efforts moving forward upon completion of this project. So as I get in through, one of the unique things about this, there's just so many things we could dive in here, but I'm not going to go into it all. As you can see in the Who We Are tab, some of the highlights there is through the history of Apopka, the location of Apopka, our demographics. And I do want to highlight this because I think this is a really amazing statistics that I think a lot of our residents and I think even our leaders in the community don't understand. Just the growth of Apopka over the last 10 years and how different we are than I think we were back in 2000 and earlier than that. But as you go through, you'll see the statistics right here and just in our growth as far as population. You'll see back in early 2011 right there, we were sitting at just about 42,000 residents. As of the data that we've collected at the beginning of this year, we are at 55,177 residents that are here within the city of Apopka. So you just see this tremendous path of growth moving upwards. You also see that our community median age is 36 years old. And fun fact, that's actually younger than the city of Orlando. The city of Orlando is over 37 years old. And then also you look down and you'll see of ethnicity and the distribution there. You'll see that we are a very racially diverse community here in Apopka. And I think that's amazing, a story to tell when we're looking for new businesses to grow and come to Apopka, that you get to see that we represent all the big picture. And so we are just as diverse as other parts of Central Florida. And then lastly, you'll see down here in the business stats, it was pretty interesting. We have over 4,800 businesses that are here within the city of Apopka with over 37,000 people employed. And you'll find your top five businesses that we have represented in construction, banking, finance and insurance, healthcare, food and beverage service, and retail trade. So, those are our top industries right here. But when we're looking at luring new businesses, at least this gives us the emphasis of what we have here and what we are going to hope to attract in new businesses to our community. So as I go back up. So the relocate your business. So this is probably the site, part of the site that I'm just most excited about, because this is true version for our economic development. First, what I want to show you is the site selection. So this was a second component of building this website here. This was through a whole nother company to build this interactive opportunity for us to, one, showcase our properties that are available for purchase or development here within the city. Secondly, define data. Anybody who's into analytics, and I know Commissioner Becker, I know you really enjoy data and really diving into numbers. Well, this is a whole resource center here that gives you all that data that you want to know, from businesses that are here, from how much people potentially may spend, to, of course, all the demographic data, labor force, you name it. You can find all this information here. And as you'll see, we've built out this quadrant really for all of Northwest Orange County. But within it, the purple right there is the city of Apopka. So it really gives you that picture that we are the heart and soul of Northwest Orange County. But there is an opportunity for continued growth and development here. So what I'll do is you can dive in here and you can see all sorts of community data. For instance, you could click on here and you can see details specific to the city of Apopka. Again, this population data, you can see age distribution, population growth, educational attainment, so forth. And it really, really dives into the nuts and bolts. And so I think it's going to be a great resource, again, for each of you and for all of our businesses and community leaders within the Apopka area. But what I also want to notably talk about is the property search. So you're going to be able to locate on here, and as you'll see, there are all those little circles on there. And within those circles represents an opportunity for growth and development that is already available for either build-out that has been approved by the city. So for instance, right here, you'll see the top two properties right there for the Cold Link Logistics. It's a business that has a warehouse and distribution center here in Apopka, but they have opportunity for growth for other businesses to move into their facility and their land area. Chesterfield, Apopka, which is just north of the airport area, the Orlando Apopka Airport. Again, you find all this information here, and I'll just click on one, and then the other one right here is the Apopka 429 project. And I'll just click on this one so you can kind of see a little bit. But when you click on it, you're going to have an opportunity to be able to really dive into the nuts and bolts, find out about the description, find out where it's located, who to contact, what are the utilities ready, how far away is it from any means of transportation, of course the size, and if it's available for sale, if it's a lease, you name it, and of course then a contact information. So we're really being able to put ourselves on the map. And this particular project obviously has been in partnership with Duke Energy, has really done a lot of site work on this particular project. We have a lot of opportunity for growth and development off this 429. So again, an awesome resource here for our city and of course for those who are interested in moving and relocating to Apopka. So then I'll go back through to the main site here. And as you can see, we have now broken it up into different targeted industries. Then in each page is a subpage. So we have everything from agri-science, aviation, clean tech, construction, ecotourism, logistics and distribution, and manufacturing. And those are our primary opportunities for growth and development for new companies coming into our region, and to find a little bit more about some of the other employers in town that meet those, that are in that space. And so they can learn and say, hey, I know that Coca-Cola's here, so, that's a great brand that you have here in the city of Apopka, or so forth. The other opportunity right here is under incentives. This is one of the great areas that we have not had a good opportunity to leverage this within our community. Many other cities around the region have done a good job about creating incentives for new growth and development. But we've now haven't really had an opportunity to really share what we can offer for our community here, both on the city's perspective and, of course, on Orange County and statewide. And so it breaks it down from our local initiatives and incentives, from our CRA programs to other assistance programs that are built in here. And Jim and his team helped us out, kind of put all this together. Of course, then you have the Orange County incentives, that you have state incentives on here. And as you go through, you can find federal incentives. So this is just a great resource center to find out different opportunities that are available. Next, you also see about special zones. So, Apopka is unique because we're one of the few communities that does have an opportunity zone. And an opportunity zone is obviously great for developers because there's great tax incentives that are there available that don't hurt the city of Apopka, but it allows for redevelopment and for new growth. And so what we were able to kind of put together here, this is a snapshot, and in fact, the city hall is encompassed within that opportunity zone there. So for those who are looking to expand, this gives you all those key facts and statistics about this particular opportunity zone. If you were looking to come and purchase land here and, of course, redevelop within this particular zone. Also, the hub zones. We also have hub zones that are located within the city. And you'll see right here, this gives you an opportunity. Part of the opportunity zone is included in this new hub zone, which, again, is more tax incentives. But as you move north of 441, you will see that there are opportunities there. And then east of us, over off the 441, as you get closer towards Seminole County, is also opportunity for tax incentives. And then foreign trade zones. Orlando is one of the few locations that has a foreign trade zone. It's actually really of importance to some of our larger companies. When they look to expand, they want to be near an opportunity for a foreign trade zone, which allows them to do business with some tax reliefs and tariff reliefs. So really interesting dynamic here that we have close proximity to one of those locations here that we can also sell ourselves on. Certainly you can dive in more in workforce development. You'll have an opportunity to really dive in and see all of our educational components, everything from early learning all the way up through your K through 12 schools, including being able to see what the grade levels are for each of those schools. Now, the latest data we have is from 2019. As you know, this past school year, we do not have any new grades details yet, but this is all information on here. So for parents and those who are looking for good schools, they have an opportunity to view that. From all the other school options, from private schools, charter schools, public virtual school, magnet school programs. We have several of them here in the Apopka area that are great for new business expansion opportunities from all variety of different careers. Also, our higher educational partners. While they may not be located directly in Apopka, they are very close by, and they are great partners with our chamber and with our city. And so it gives an opportunity for those who want additional educational opportunities, can find them on here. And last but not least, Career Source of Central Florida, a great partner that I know that we've worked over the years through the Apopka Youth Works program and many other opportunities with them. Just a great resource training organization. And certainly we want to make sure that we highlight them as part of this as a great partner. And then, so transportation and logistics, we're one of the few cities in all of Central Florida that has access to all three major means of transportation. We have rail lines that connect throughout the entire city and in the surrounding area. We also have our highways. We have access to our major state roads and, of course, their toll roads that are around the area. And then we also have bus service. And lastly, we have local air service with our city, the Apopka and Orlando Apopka Airport, as well as the close proximity to two other major airports, the Orlando Executive Airport, and then, of course, MCO and the Orlando Sanford Airport. So, again, just showing all the means of connectivity from business commerce, of course, to people, and moving people from destination to destination all across not only Central Florida, but, of course, throughout the entire world. And then obviously we have great utility partners, and I won't need to highlight this too much, but certainly we wanted to make sure that we acknowledge that there are utilities is a key component for any new business that might be looking to relocate to the area. And then last but not least, your major employers. It's a great story to be told just with logos. That's all you need. You know, folks don't need to see a whole story about it, but when they see some of these logos, they're powerful because of the fact that these are national brands. These are brands that are right here within our city, and it really is a great selling point on itself as far as new folks who are looking to potentially come here to the Apopka area. And then under grow your business, well, this is, like I said, this is for entrepreneurs. So this is for someone who has an idea, but they don't know how to go about enacting it and creating it for themselves. So they have this opportunity through here and tons of links to resources from everything from the Chamber to the National Entrepreneurship Center, USBA, so forth. You just have a myriad of connectivity points right here, all in one centralized location. So if you have an idea, you can come through here and really be able to find all the links to anything you might need in order to start your business and potentially grow your business. And then it dives in from the national stage, or it's national and state, down to our local region here, from anything from permits and licensing to zoning to planning and development, so forth. You know, there's a myriad of processes that a business might need to take, but this has a link to all of that right here. And each of these links go directly to that department, whether it's the city, the county, so forth. And so one of those things that I hope that the city will look to do is bringing some of those forms that are right now hard forms, bringing some of those in through technology and being able to link them directly through some of these portals. So that way, it again, speeds up the process and allows for enhanced technology and access. All right, and then the last section I'll highlight is life in Apopka. Looks in there. And Apopka is an amazing place. And, you know, we really wanted to break it up into a few small segments here for folks to realize just how awesome our community is. And certainly our outdoors is one of the greatest assets that we have here on behalf of the city, with just over 43 trails covering 394 miles. Again, it's an amazing statistic we have there. We have our beautiful Lake Apopka Wildlife Drive. We have our Wekiva Springs. You know, we have just tons of opportunities, not to mention the Northwest Recreational Complex, which, again, is part of the brand here. And just every weekend, we all know that we see thousands of kids coming out there and using our facilities here. Shopping in Apopka, obviously, all of our great restaurants that are here. As y'all know, I'm just near and dear to my heart, many of these restaurants. And certainly, any opportunity you get the chance to support our local restaurants, we encourage folks to do so. And then find a home. You know, obviously, Apopka has a great inventory of new homes, not only in development, but of course, those for resale. So this has an access link with the Orlando Regional Realtor Association to give their bigger network of home availability. And then events, you know, connect with the city, the chamber. We have just myriad of events, everything from the Art and Foliage Festival through a variety of chamber opportunities and business opportunities. And then last but not least, how to stay here. You know, and with our growing hotels they're coming here to our region and places to bring your families and bring our friends. You know, we want to have a location or one-stop destination for folks to be able to find the best place that fits their budget and their location. So with that, and then the last piece I want to show you is under Contact Us. And we were able to create an actual form here that someone who is interested in potentially relocating, growing their business, looking to buy, you name it, but wants more information, can go ahead and fill this information out here. It will be emailed, and obviously on the back end, the chamber right now will be receiving this information, and then can, of course, contact that person directly. So certainly if someone goes through the process of doing this, they're serious. You know, they're a serious prospect for our community here. And we felt that it was really important to have that layer, that if they just were uncomfortable picking up the phone, but at least we had their information if they wanted to fill out a form here for us. So with that, this whole website is ready to rock and roll with obviously a few tweaks here and there. We are, you know, kind of through our final phase here. And it will be moved over to a brand new web link which I won't announce yet because we'll announce that here very soon. But we've purchased a variety of web links. So it's going to be moved over to a public website here, portal here very, very soon. So, but we're kind of going through our last phase. But I wanted to be able to share it with each of you tonight. You know, this was really important to me, and I was hopeful to get this done before my departure at the end of February. But again, we had a few snafus, and so we were excited about presenting this here to each of you tonight. So with that, I'll entertain any questions.
Any questions? Mr. Berger?
No questions, but just general comments, I guess.
Yeah.
But on first look, it looks great. It's well thought out. It flows nicely. I mean, it looks like a hub of sorts, right? You come here and you can kind of branch out to other key areas that may not be just Apopka-centric, but other areas like you described, OCPS or Orange County government, so on and so forth. And it looks great, but you know, the thing with websites too, right? They can become stale pretty quickly.
Yep.
So who is going to be tasked with, like, even demographics? The census does kind of an annual refresh of some of those demographics. The worst thing that could happen is someone goes there and they see a whole bunch of blatantly stale information.
That's a great question right there, and the mayor and I had talked about that. And what we're going to do is, obviously, with my departure here, there's going to be kind of a handover period. Right now, this data is accurate. You know, it's based on current data right now. But you know, an agreement needs to be made between the city and the chamber moving forward with Kate Manley coming after me about who's going to kind of maintain the numbers on here, the statistics, and so forth. The great thing I will tell you, though, is under this particular site here, this community data is actually not going to be, it's pulled by the state of Florida and the Department of Economic Opportunity. So we don't have to update this information. Right. This information is automatically going to be populated whenever they update it. So this information is coming directly from the state. Of course, whenever the census data gets put in here, which it has not been yet, it will draw from that ultimately when everything gets released.
And is that a free plugin, or do we have to pay for license and stuff?
So this license is paid for an annual basis. So this is paid through next year. So through, it'll be next February of 2022, the license will be up, and then at that point, it'll be an annual reoccurrence in order to pay for the subscription to this particular site and
so
maintain.
The success of this kind of enterprise is something that we'll have to contemplate during kind of our annual budgeting.
It will be, yeah, but it's a nominal fee, so it's not, the major expense was building the website portion of it. So this is a nominal fee, and again, this is unique because I was talking with Edward about this. When I look across the region, there's not many cities that have this kind of data out there, and we're really unique that we're able to kind of share this story that's much more in depth.
Because even if it's not perfect on the first pass, but this is very good. I mean, it's very well laid out. It shows that we're thinking about it. It shows that we're doing purposeful work to address economic development within Apopka. Totally agree. The last question would be more in line with, you know, who's keeping it up to date, but really, how are we monitoring traffic to the site? You know, how do we make it from a reactive thing to being proactive to say, hey, we've got this great resource tool. You know, how are we outbound marketing this thing as a city, as a partner with chamber, that sort of stuff?
Well, great question there. And that was the phase that was going to come as soon as this website was done, was then about the marketing piece. Was that now, once we have an identity and we have a brand that we can go with and we have a story to be told, now we can go out and do marketing. And that was the next phase of our partnership with the city. But obviously, we had to get this website done and completed before we could tell any sort of story, because we obviously want to channel people back to this website here. So that is going to come and happen next, is that marketing piece. You know, again, the Apopka Growth Alliance will continue, and that's going to kind of be the driving force for that marketing here. And I think it's a great, you know, kind of starting point that, again, we had nothing to start with, and so now we're building this from this foundation that has now been laid here. And now you can start building up from it. So I appreciate that.
Great, thanks.
A couple other things to add to that, and I'm assuming this through the chamber website where it connects there. Is there that opportunity for other local businesses to have a portal when people are seeking that it goes all the way out to that local level?
So you're saying, well, this is going to be linked to both the chamber and the city's website for sure, but it's still living on its own site. So it's not like really, if you make adjustments to it, it's not going to affect anything on the chamber's website. It's not going to affect anything on the city's website, you know, in a sense. So it's kind of its living document there. If you're talking about for small businesses, everyone will have access to this. This is not something that's being, everything that you're seeing on here, this is open to the entire public. So anybody can get access to this. There's no restrictions. There's really no back end to it where you have to log in order to, get personal information. This information, whatever's out here, is what's public.
But is there a portal where the local businesses themselves can somewhat market themselves? Is there a way to get to them? I know through the chamber website, member businesses have a portal there. Is that?
We have not done it in here, but one thing that we did do is under the life of Apopka, there are some links here that will link you to, and a good example would be the restaurants. These are all restaurants that are members of the chamber right now, so it kind of puts it all together right here. So it does give some marketing availability on behalf of the chamber, kind of put together, and that's a majority of our restaurants in the region.
So does that connect to their individual web page?
It does, yeah. Well, and it would go to we picked one out, San Miguel's. It would then go to their little portal right here, and some of them, well, obviously it'll say the location, and whatnot. Some of them will have websites if they have a website or not. Some of our businesses, unfortunately, do not. So,
Yeah, I think the main goal for this is to bring people here.
Right.
And if they, obviously, they're looking at incentives, they're looking at, are there good restaurants, the schools? So this is more of a trying to get people to relocate or to expand their business here versus the chamber function, which is the businesses are already established here, staying here. So I think that's kind of and if you want to go that direction, then you go to the chamber. If you've got things that you want to find out about the city, then you would come to the city website. So I think it's a.
Well, yeah, again, along those lines, if someone is looking to locate here, they want to know, well, what's here for our employees,
Right, right.
that. So I just want to make sure that it's got access that direction. Anyway, the other thing is, and I know this is for those who are looking for us, but, and probably this doesn't directly affect this, but we can indirectly use this as a tool. How do we go after selected industries? If we see something that would be a great fit here, is there something along those lines from the Economic Development Committee that's going to begin to target now that we have the tool?
yes, that would be I can't completely answer that question because that fact, it's no longer my decision anymore. But that will be up to Kate, and obviously I strongly urge each of you to talk to her about your vision, about how you want to see this continue on and where you want to see it go. But yes, if I were here and it would be my world, yeah, absolutely. It would be one of those things where then we would leverage this to get within site selectors. I mean, I was talking to the mayor about that. There's a select group of site selectors that work on behalf of basically majority of major companies throughout the entire United States. And it's a kind of a small network. We just need to break into that group, but we have now something to show them. Before that, we could say, come to Apopka, come to Apopka. Well, they're going to say, well, why would I come to Apopka? And we can all do long-winded, why would be great. Well, now we don't need to say long-winded. We now have a resource that we can show them directly and say, here's why you come to Apopka.
And that's the point is we've got a tremendous tool now.
Exactly.
Will there be someone that will use this to its maximum to go after these different industries, restaurants, different things, and say, this is what the people want, and here's the stats to back it up? So,
Absolutely.
right.
Commissioner
Okay.
Vasquez?
Well, I was really impressed with a lot of the information that you had. I kind of made a lot of notes. So something that I will look at, because I remember when I was here, one of the things that, I had found that they were actually looking for standalone brick and mortar commercial buildings, and we don't have that. So we're inviting people to come and buy the land, you're saying, and build.
Both.
Some of both. So actually on this site here, for instance, what I was telling you on the property results, you can actually sort, well, it's not so much on the sort here, but basically you can go through and you can see certain properties. When you click on them, they're going to say whether or not they're ready for build or if it's already an existing build that you are now going to lease space from, for instance. Okay, so there's a combination of both. So it's located within here. There are some places, again, that are ready for a business to move in tomorrow. And then there are some that it's an idea and a concept of land that is available for anybody who wants to develop, on.
So, like, when you talked about opportunity zones and hub zones, and you said tax incentives, is there a person they contact, and who is that? Is that listed in there?
It
You went
is.
through it real quick, so I wasn't sure.
Sorry, no, it's okay. Under the special zones section right here, first of all, for the Orange County I believe, I don't know if they have the information on there. I don't remember if it was put on there or not. But there will be a contact person, you know, if you're interested in learning more specific. I don't think it is on this particular one right there.
Okay.
But certainly we'll add a contact person if there's someone else outside of it. Right now, we're really trying to drive it to a single person or a single source for everything that's on the site. So right now, this is all going to the chamber. So at the end of the day, ultimately, we want somebody to contact the chamber to then give that answer direct response. If you have too many hands involved in it, obviously the answers can be differentiated from one person to the next. So you want to make sure that you consolidate that information point to a singular entity or person, you know, at this point. And right now, we have determined that it would be the chamber at this moment. Moving forward.
And so, did you mention bike trails in here? Because, again,
I did, yeah.
you did.
We have over 394 miles of bike and walking trails.
Okay. And then the other that I wanted to kind of say is, at some point, I know that we're working with the chamber, and I'm going to say this, because, I mean, we are highlighting so much around the city of Apopka. So the next thing I'd like to see is the signage go around our city directing people where these businesses are. Is that anything that we are working toward anytime soon?
Well, I think that would be part of that question that was presented by Commissioner Becker about talking about the next phase of marketing. So yes, that's the next phase that needs to be happen. That can be all different levels. You know, that can be from digital media, that can be print media, that certainly can be, you know, anything you want to see out there for the public. And again, this site is not necessarily intended for local residents. It can be utilized by local residents, but it's really more intended for the outside market, which means outside of Apopka. So it means that we need to do a better job with reaching to the state of Florida. We need to do a better job with our, you know, Orlando region. We need to do a better job marketing in the Southeast, you know, other parts of the country. We need to learn about how we go into those communities and market why it's great to come to Apopka and relocate here. That's really the ultimate intent, you know, about this. Certainly there are resources for our local residents here to take advantage of, but that was not the end up goal here. There's plenty of opportunity. They can reach out to the chamber any day and can grow their business. I mean, that's our role here in the community is about growing our local businesses, but this is about attracting new capital and new investment to our community.
Well, but it's a great start. I'm impressed with it. It's something that even we as commissioners can kind of go through and just see the information there and anything that we feel we can add to it to help it grow and certainly to attract more businesses. One last question.
Yeah.
When we link on to the businesses that are in existence, is there any way of them having like job opportunities posted? No.
That's all through the chamber. The chamber has its own site that we have our own job posting board. So those opportunities, again, as the chamber's normal role is about growing the economic space of our existing community. So this is, again, focused on attracting new businesses. So if a business in the community wants to post jobs, we have our own job board already on the chamber. So I don't want to we're not doing anything redundant. If there's already something in existence, it doesn't exist on the site here.
Okay.
So a lot of these components on here never existed on the city, the chamber site. So this is all new information, new resources here that were never linked anywhere else. So that was the intent by this.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Welcome.
Robert, this awesome. We're so excited. You know, I know it's been a challenge to get us to this point, but we're so excited about, you know, the efforts you put into it. Give us a couple of weeks. A couple little tweaks we're making, and then we'll let everybody know when we go live. And yeah, we're ready. So we thank you, Robert, and your team for putting this all together, and look forward to great times.
Well, thank you so much, Mayor. Thank you, commissioners. I really do appreciate it. Yes.
One last comment, because Commissioner Banks, something he said jogged my interest, and it's going to be a couple weeks if you can do a little. One thing that might be helpful is almost do it from a use case perspective. Have little avatars that say, hey, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm looking for a home, or I'm an established business, I'm relocating, or if I'm a big employment center, what incentives can Apopka provide? You know, that sort of stuff. So that way when they come to the page, I just click on big buttons that say, okay, take me to where I need to go.
Okay. Okay.
Other than that.
Absolutely. Would love to continue to take your feedback. And hopefully each of you have a link to this. And if you don't, at the end of today's meeting, each of you will have a link so you can take and review it on your own time. And I encourage you to reach out to us. And While I won't be working directly on this project as much, I'm still kind of having to move on to my next role. But we have next people in place, and I'm happy to help make that connection directly. But we're working with the city, kind of putting everything together on kind of if there's any last-minute changes or any things we want to do, we're going to consolidate it all in one so we can get it all done at the same time. So accommodate everyone. So thank you all very,
Thank you,
very
Robert.
much.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay. Susan, any public comments?
Oh, you had said, I'm sorry, Ms. Cindy Sims had sent an email. Are you comfortable with reading your letter? I told you in the email I was terrified of public speaking. Right. I just wanted to know if you had any questions or anything on it.
Yeah, we're waiting on Orange County with, trying to figure out the drainage well. We talked about last council meeting, it's a drainage well. If we can convince DEP that there was a drainage well, we have a course of action. If we can't convince DEP we had one, it becomes a lot more problematic and a lot more expensive. And the choices are expensive and more expensive. So we're still waiting. Jeff, you got anything to add? I mean, is there anything really is that pretty much it? So we're waiting, we're on hold, waiting on Orange County to come out. As soon as so here's the process. So let's say they say that we can replace the drainage well that's under 436 currently. Orange County is going to run lead only because they've got expertise in drainage wells. So they're going to run point on it with us. We've agreed to split the cost 50-50. I still expect, I haven't got any confirmation that Seminole County and DOT will also help with the cost of this drainage well. So if they get that, then it'll go through the RFP process in Orange County, which is not particularly fast. So I wouldn't want to tell you, I can almost assure you this will not be done this year. So if you're looking for this rainy season, I wouldn't hold my breath. I mean, I'd like to tell you we're going to get it done then, but so what we'll also do, another thing we're going to be doing is there's a drainage well at Lake Page and there's another drainage well at Lake Pleasant that we also want to revigorate, so that's all kind of in that. We're going to do them all three and get them all up and running if that's a possibility. The other two are just rehabs, so we can do those. They won't have a lot of effect on you, but it will affect the area, the region a little bit. So that's kind of where we're at, and we will definitely keep you posted. One of the things I gave to each of the commissioners tonight was a sheet that you might already have this. This is the lake levels of the three lakes that are border Cortez and we call it the unnamed lake, which is in front of Hobby Lobby. So if you don't have this, okay, I'll be happy to just give you mine, and you can just if you want to come up, I'll give that to you. That just gives you kind of, and what I've done on mine, I think I highlighted the ones where the highest level of the lakes, just so you kind of know it. They were all in September, I think. So anyway, we understand, and unfortunately, it's until we get some clarification from DEP that we can do it, we're on standby. So. Oh yeah, we've got the attorney Michael's got in his hand an agreement with Orange County that we haven't signed yet, I don't think, but we got an agreement for Orange County for the cost share. So, but I still want to fight to get Seminole County and DOT to help us because they expanded the road, which obviously added to the problem. And Seminole County, because of the Walmart neighborhood market, and that's added to the problem as well. So they need to help. Maybe not to the extent that Apopka and Orange County, but they need to help us. So. This is Susan Welch. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
I've been a resident around here since 1993. What I want to know is there a backup plan if this one doesn't come through?
The backup plan, we'd have to run, somehow we'd have to get a pipe from, I don't know the answer to that. I would say, one of the things, we do have two pipes that have come from, let's see, we've got one from Utilities, Inc., which is Wekiva, and we also have another one from Altamont Springs. They send us reclaimed water. The problem is this water is not, doesn't meet reclaimed water standards, so we'd have to either treat it there to put it in the pipe, or we could theoretically run, alternating 12-hour cycles between water coming off the lake and water coming from these other utilities. Or we have to run a whole other line to get it out to our wastewater treatment plant to treat it, to use it, put it in our reuse system. Neither option is cheap. I mean, now we're talking millions. So, I don't, until we exhaust, option A, I don't want to think about option B. So hopefully, like I say, hopefully in the next, 30 days, we'll have an answer from DEP that we can go ahead and redo the Border Lake well, or the unnamed well, and well, he's Orange County, but Orange County is communicating with DEP directly.
Okay.
Yes.
So Jack would be the person if you wanted to get some answers from?
We'll get them as soon as we get them. We'll. I mean, they'll reach out as well as we will. I mean, everybody will know almost immediately. I don't think. Yeah. Yep. Yes, ma'am. You bet. Thank y'all for coming. Okay. Anybody else, Susan? Okay. All right.
Should I submit her letter? Or,
Yeah, you can put it there.
okay. You have it? Oh, you have it? Okay.
Okay, on the consent agenda, I do want to apologize on consent agenda item 1. As you know, I've only had twice that I've not lived up to my having everything in your hands by Friday before the Wednesday. This phosphorus agreement, which is on the consent agenda, I went out there to look at the property, and lo and behold, they were already putting product on our property. So I thought, well, we ought to go ahead and get this, the okay from City Council, based on, they've already taken the liberty to do that. So I was a little, not upset, but it was interesting that they were already taking that for granted. So anyway, that's the reason it's on there, is that they were already putting product down on the ground and without your consent. But with that, is there anything else that you'd like, anything you need to pull, or any questions on the consent? If not, I look for a motion to approve all 5 items.
So moved.
Got a motion by Commissioner Bankson,
Second.
second by Commissioner Becker. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next up, Major Development, Hermit Smith Warehouse. Phil.
Good evening, Mayor and City Commissioners. Phil Martinez, Planner 2 with the City's Planning Division. The applicant is requesting approval of a major development plan for a warehouse building totaling 290,000 square feet. The subject properties are highlighted in yellow and located at 602 and 650 Hermit Smith Road and comprise of approximately 19.6 acres. The site is proposed to be accessed via Hermit Smith Road with 2 full access points, which are located at the eastern property line, one being in the northeast corner and the other one being further south. And right turn lanes are proposed to be constructed leading into both sites, into the site at both access points. A total of 231 parking spaces are provided on site. Of the 231 parking spaces, 7 are accessible parking spaces. 32% of the site is reserved as open space, while the Land Development Code requires a minimum of 5% open space for properties zoned IL, or light industrial. The applicant has provided a 15-foot wide Type D buffer along the southern property line with additional landscaping to be provided around the perimeter of the site, within the parking area, and along the northern and eastern ends of the building. And the applicant has also provided architectural elevations for the proposed warehouse building. The Development Review Committee recommends approval of the Hermit Smith Warehouse Major Development Plan, and the Planning Commission, with a vote of 4-1, recommends approval of the Major Development Plan for the Hermit Smith Warehouse. And the recommended motion for this evening is to approve the Hermit Smith Warehouse Major Development Plan. This concludes my presentation, and the applicant and I would be happy to address any questions that you may have.
Okay, any questions for Phil? Okay. Would the,
Phil, do we know what kind of warehouse it's for?
why don't you bring up the applicant?
Yeah.
Can the applicant come forward?
I mean, there's 200 and how many spaces? So is that the employees, or is that open to the public? And what kind of business is that warehouse?
Jason Lewis, Cumming Horny Associates, 116 South Kentucky Avenue, Lakeland, Florida. Currently, it's a spec warehouse. The way this facility is laid out is you got auto parking in the front, truck court on the backside. It could be partitioned into a couple of different users, or it could be one user in there altogether. So it's set up to have flexibility.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
It's set up to have flexibility on the users and who's ultimately going to be in here, but it's currently a spec warehouse.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions for the applicant? Okay. Anybody from the public wish to speak on this matter? Not, we'll close the public hearing and look for a motion to approve the major development plan for the Hermit Smith Warehouse.
So moved.
Got a motion by Commissioner Bankson.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Becker. All those in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next up, Jeff.
Good evening, Jeff Weatherford, Director of Public Services. Here tonight on an amendment to the contract between Collage Companies and the city, where we were having them do some excavation. The city and Collage entered into a contract together back in November of 2015, where we were selling excess dirt in our Golden Gem site. Basically, I'm digging a little hole about 350 million gallons in the ground to store some reclaimed water in. That when we set up this contract, we anticipated we'd sell about $1.9 million worth of dirt to them. In fact, we've actually gone over $2.2 million worth of dirt sales to date. But what we did when we set this up, we set this contract up to take money from them, not for us to be able to give them money. And we've got some extra work we need for them to do, having to do with stabilizing the slopes and berms and such within the facility, sodding them and such. So we're asking that this contract be amended to allow us to assign them additional work and be able to compensate them for that work in an amount not to exceed $114,000. So recommendation is we're asking that you authorize the city administrator to execute this amendment to the contract between Collage and the city for the City of Apopka excavation and purchase of surplus dirt project. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions for Jeff?
The only question I would have is, so the language in the contractual language for the unforeseen work gives the authorization to the city administrator to go above and beyond the 114?
Within the normal limits of change order, which I believe is 5%. But we don't anticipate it.
It would be in
We just-
accordance, right, it would be in accordance with the purchasing policy.
Right.
So
Okay.
it would have to come back if it was more.
It's just some standard language that we don't anticipate using, but it's there.
So we don't anticipate digging 350 more feet for the Border Lake issues?
Well, if
We
we
dug it as
dug-
deep as I would let,
Yeah.
they would, as the water table would let us.
And if we were to dig out more dirt, they'd have to pay us for it. So.
Well, it's mutual, it's beneficial on both sides of that coin.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. All right, any other questions for Jeff? All right. Anybody from the public wish to speak on this matter? Not, we'll close the public hearing, look for a motion to approve the amendment to the contract with Collage Design and Construction Group with the City of Apopka excavation and purchase of surplus dirt at 2 locations.
So moved.
Got a motion by Commissioner Becker,
Second.
second by Commissioner Velasquez. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next up, ordinance number 2744.
Ordinance number 2744, an ordinance of the City of Apopka, Florida, amending the future land use element of the Apopka Comprehensive Plan of the City of Apopka, changing the future land use designation from commercial to residential, low suburban for certain real property generally located south of Lust Road and west of Binion Road, owned by Clontz Farm, Inc., comprising 11.00 acres, more or less, providing for severability and for an effective date.
Okay, Phil, any changes? Okay, anybody from the public wish to speak on this matter? Not, we look for a motion to adopt ordinance number 2744.
So moved.
Got a motion by Commissioner Velasquez,
Second.
second by Commissioner Bankson. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next up, ordinance number 2758.
Ordinance number 2758. An ordinance of the City of Apopka, Florida, changing the zoning from Transitional District to MUESGT, Mixed Use East Shore Gateway District, for certain real property located north of Harmon Road and east of South Binion Road, comprising 19.71 acres, more or less, and owned by Binion Road LLC, providing for severability and providing for an effective date.
Okay, Phil, any changes? Okay, anybody from the public wish to speak on this matter? If not, look for a motion to approve ordinance number 2758.
Oh, okay, that's so moved.
Got a motion by Commissioner Velasquez,
Second.
second by Commissioner Bankson. All those in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next up, ordinance number 2816.
Okay, ordinance number 2816, an ordinance of the City of Apopka, Florida, amending the future land use element of the Apopka Comprehensive Plan of the City of Apopka, changing the future land use designation from mixed use to commercial for certain real property located east of Ocoee Apopka Road and south of State Road 414, comprising 2.93 acres more or less, and owned by McCloskey Holdings LLC, providing for severability and for an effective date.
Any changes, Phil? All right. Anybody from the public wish to speak on this matter? Not, we'll look for a motion from council to adopt ordinance number 2816.
So moved.
Got a motion by Commissioner Bankson,
Second.
second by Commissioner Becker. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next up, ordinance number 2817.
Ordinance number 2817, an ordinance of the City of Apopka, Florida, changing the zoning from MUESGT, Mixed Use East Shore Gateway District, to CC Community Commercial District for certain real property located east of Ocoee Apopka Road and south of State Road 414, comprising 2.93 acres more or less, and owned by McCloskey Holdings LLC, providing for severability and for an effective date.
Phil, any changes? No changes, Mayor. All right, thank you. Anybody from the public wish to speak on this matter? Not, look for a motion to adopt ordinance number 2817.
So moved.
Got a motion by Commissioner Becker,
So moved, I mean,
second
second.
by Commissioner Velasquez. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next up, ordinance number 2823.
Ordinance number 2823, an ordinance of the City of Apopka, Florida, to extend its territorial and municipal limits to annex pursuant to Florida Statute 171.044, the hereinafter described land situated and being in Orange County, Florida, owned by Li Kun, Li Ming Jia, Nam Ki Yon, and Li John Dan Nam, located north of Kelly Park Road and east of Dalman Drive, providing for severability, or for directions to the city clerk, severability, conflicts, and an effective date.
Okay, Phil, any changes? No change. Okay, anybody from the public wish to speak on this matter? Not, we'll close this public hearing. Look for a motion to adopt ordinance number 2823.
So moved.
Got a motion by Commissioner Bankson,
Second.
second by Commissioner Becker. All those in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. All right. Dr. Jackson.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Tonight, I just wanted to let you all know that the DEO has a new CDBG grant that's available to us. Today, this is all for a formality, need to do a public hearing just in regards to this new application that's available. DEO has $41 million that's available. They are allowing for us to apply for COVID funding. This will allow for us to apply for up to $5 million. The city is allowed to submit one grant application. With all of the CDBG grants, you have to make sure that you're highlighting one of the national objectives, either LMI, it has to either be preventing or eliminating slum or blight, or it needs to address an urgent need. Under the CARES Act funding that's presented, they are allowing for us to look at acquisition, public improvements, public facilities that might need some updating or rehab, offer business assistance, maybe create some type of micro enterprise assistance, help with our public services planning, or also go in and do some broadband planning or public infrastructure. The main thing with this particular grant is that we have to make sure that all of our activities are preventing, preparing, or responding to COVID. One of the things that, well, these are some of the activities that we're allowed to actually go in and implement. We can go in and rehabilitate a facility that may be offering testing or a diagnosis treatment. But like I said, one of the main things that they keep stressing, it has to be benefiting those that are affected by COVID or preventing COVID. So we just have to keep that in mind. And also, we can't duplicate efforts. So if we've already allotted money for a particular project, we can't now go in and supplant.
I'm sorry, say that again?
So for instance, if we were going in and let's say we wanted to maybe install some trails, we can't go into an actual area that we've already set aside money for. So like, for instance, all of the work that that Jim has been working on, like we couldn't go in and say, yeah, let's go in and use this money to help with trail formation.
So none of this what is this? called?
CDBG.
CDBG money is not going to be used in anything that's already been funded?
If you've already
and
budgeted
that
for
we've
it, if you already have a
okay.
plan for it, then no, that's
Okay.
supplanting.
Okay.
And these are just some other examples that, of projects that we could possibly do. So, like I said, this is just formality. This is one of the things that we have to do with CDBG. So this is the first public hearing. I'll also have, if you all agreed, that I can go ahead and start developing the actual application, which I can say it should be out midsummer. If you say that it's okay to proceed, I'll start developing the application. We'll have meetings and discuss what's the best project for us to proceed with, and then we'll go from there. And I'll bring it back to you all before I actually submit the application. So that'll be the second public hearing.
So the only other question is, if we do get awarded the CDBG, I have to keep saying that, grant, is that going to be a separate fund that we will draw from, or does that get put into the general fund?
It's separate, just like
Okay,
we
separate.
built the community center.
Right.
Like we cannot use it for anything other than what we state in our application.
And so anytime we need to draw from that grant, we have to have a public hearing.
Well, with this particular grant, it will focus on one activity. So all activities that, the grant will encompass, you'll see the actual application that I'm submitting to the state. That's what I'll bring to you in the second public hearing. And we'll talk and discuss and, tell you why that's such an awesome idea for us to proceed in that manner. But as far as, just like we did with the community center, anything in regards to the planning, the engineering will come before council.
Okay. Thank you.
Commissioner Bankson?
I'm good.
Good. Commissioner Becker? Good, okay. All right, look for a motion to authorize the development and application of a community development block grant.
So moved.
Got a motion by Commissioner Velasquez?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Bankson. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. All right, city council reports. Commissioner Velasquez.
Well, other than that, I have to say thank you to you because You have been supporting that Saturday Sounds faithfully. You've gone even when I haven't gone, but you certainly came out and enjoyed Latin night. And that was really fun, and I got to dance, and it was, this Saturday wasn't cold, it was a great day, and we saw a lot more people come out and attend. And as the public is watching, I really encourage them. And also Mr. Rod Olson
Yeah,
from
he's been there
Rock Springs
everywhere.
Ridge, he's
Right,
been
yeah.
there faithfully every Saturday. It's a great event for us in Apopka, and I just want to encourage our residents and visitors to please come out and support it. It's really fun. You know, there's the social distancing, come out with your family, and just keep doing it. This is till the end of May, and it's a great event for our city, to promote our city. So,
Commissioner Banks?
And I think we should make sure and put video of Commissioner Velasquez dancing on the
dancing.
new economic development website. and-
We sure.
No, again, that is true. I wanted to just bring attention to something. Florida League of Cities, of course, has brought forth that we're looking at the American Rescue Plan, basically funding from the COVID-19 at a federal
Yes.
level, which, if I'm understanding it right, Apopka is on the list of funding allocation for over $22 million.
oh, that's.
Which is tremendous and will be a great help. This is the first time this is going directly to municipalities. And we got our fair share definitely in that list. So I'm very excited about the possibilities there. The other thing was there was a great meeting in South Apopka, a community meeting there
Oh, that's
last
right,
night
last
that I was
night.
very pleased with the tone of it. Just a desire, let's all come together and work together. Rather than just complaining about a problem, frustration boiling over. It was more, what assets do each of us carry? And there was a real call for everyone to take personal responsibility, you know. They had little mirrors for everyone to look and sing along with Michael Jackson, the man in the mirror, you know. But it's for all of us to do that same. And are we doing our part as a council? And there, we found there's a lot of resources that aren't connected. There's help here, there's need here. And again, just along the lines of, I know the Resource Center, that's their desire, is to help bring connection to those things. I think there's a lot of things that we already have some funding for, that if we can utilize those first, then we can go where the gaps are and really make a difference there. So it was a great spirit in that meeting, and just exciting to see the community continue to come together.
Cool, all right. Commissioner,
Yeah, to that end, and I apologize for missing it last night. I was on a Delta flight coming home from Arizona. So my apologies for missing that event. And I know it's always good conversations that are had there. And to Commissioner Bankston's point, that stimulus money, you know, it's a pretty large figure. What kind of restrictions are we going to have on those dollars, or do we not know that yet?
we don't know that yet.
Okay.
And while you're bringing that up, what I'd like to kind of say for you is there's also some other unallocated resources that are there as well. And so I want to reach out to Gray Robinson, which was our lobbyist before I kind of took over for, you know, our stuff in Tallahassee. But what I've asked them to do is come up with a proposal, because the 22 million is coming our way, but there's also a lot of other dollars that we could draw down. So what I want to say is, okay, Gray Robinson, tell me, we're going to come together as directors, and we're going to look through all these different, you know, tranches of dollars. What do we want or need that would fit in that tranche, and then, you know, and then get with Gray Robinson, okay, here's the 7 things we want to go after. We think that we could ultimately get $5 or $6 more million or $400,000 more dollars. Gray Robinson, how can you help us get there? Because there's so many, I mean, I don't know how many pages, 600 pages, and obviously a lot of things that go with it. So I'd like to, at least, they're going to give me something, and so the next council meeting, if there's something I think that warrants us contracting with Gray Robinson, not only from a state level, because there's state dollars, there's federal dollars, and then that 22 million off to the side is our money. So I want to kind of look at that and say, can you help us get some of those dollars?
Okay. And you said all your directors, which segues nicely into my next question. So the 24th would be that 45-day. Are we thinking that we're going to have that posted in the HR director position?
I'm close. I think, I mean,
Because, I mean, really, at this point, what's the holdup? I mean, it's pretty boilerplate type of HR director position, job description, right? I mean, it's, That
Yeah.
can't be the
It's not the
difficulty.
job description.
It's not-
I get it, but I mean, we're over half a year into the fiscal year without
The
an
job
HR
description's
director.
right. Commissioner, I'd like to sit down with you and talk to you about an issue, so let's, I'll do that. If you'll get with me and let's have a meeting and we'll talk.
Okay. And then the last question I had, an ask from a resident, and I don't see Pam in the room, but, you know, now that ground is broken on the K-8 school, you know, I know when we first discussed that, the signalization at Rock Springs Ridge entrance and Jason Dwelly, but also a concern would be, especially with growth going up north, is potentially Kelly Park and Jason Dwelly. I don't know if there's any plans to study that, and kind of see that once it comes online.
Yeah, I will tell you that that is in her plans to start the study on that,
Okay.
on the Kelly Park one. So, but yeah, so that's, you'll see that in the upcoming budget as well. That's the next one.
So, can I just interrupt for a moment? That was the question that one of the residents sent me an email today, was that prior to the school opening up, because they are kind of forecasting that the school will be open next year, will there be a traffic signal light on Kelly?
There won't be prior to the school opening. We have to study that intersection. Usually it takes 9 months, 10 months to study, and then the construction phase would come the next fiscal year. So I know that it's on her list to study now, coming up, so that we can fund it in the next.
So how is that going to work with the school opening up and no one governing that particular Kelly Park? Because that is a safety hazard there.
Well, I think it'll be like it hasn't been in some of the other schools where our police department will be there when, of course, as you know, when it opens. It usually we have, you know, backup and issues or whatever, and the police department's usually involved. We still, you know, at Apopka Elementary, we kind of have had that issue before COVID. We will make sure, we will make sure that the police department is there to make sure that it's safe as the traffic moves into that area. But by studying that Kelly Park light, that intersection will tell us what light should be there and how, you know, what turn lanes, what light should be put, what we should install, and especially because remember, we are also starting to study Kelly Park, our section of Kelly Park, and the widening of that in the future that may come about. So it's kind of, there's two pieces going on. The Kelly Park widening issue that is a future, and then the light at Kelly Park as well. So, but again, we'll study that intersection probably, I would think, by the end of this fiscal year, this calendar year. It's on Pam's radar. I don't want to speak for her, but I think that's kind of where she's at with it, and then it'll come, you'll see it in your budget for construction dollars for the future year, so.
So this is my question. The residents in, you know, obviously will be Rock Springs Ridge, who will start asking, you know, what's with the traffic light? Are we going to have something, whether it's temporary until we can get the study there? I mean, how do I respond? What do I assure them with, especially with this school opening up?
You know what, Commissioner, what we'll do is I'll get with Pam.
Okay.
And we'll give you a timeline. Why don't we do that? I'll get with Pam and have her put her numbers together and information together so that we'll have something that we can share with everyone on the timeline of the phases
Right.
to get that light.
Right, because I want to
for
be
that
able
light.
to assure the parents who are concerned, you know, what is the city, what's our responsibility, and what will we do to ensure safety for that school and the students there?
Yeah, I'll get you that. I'll get that information
Okay.
from Pam so that we can give you that.
I appreciate that, because that obviously is on the radar of many parents who are planning to have their students, their children going there. And that seems to be the one question they keep asking about the Kelly Park.
Okay.
So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Mr. Becker, are you good? Okay, I know because she segmented into the.
Oh, no.
Okay, you good? Okay, all right, good.
I'm sorry.
No,
Did I
that's fine.
just kind of jump in? Only because
Okay.
I've been getting the same emails. I've gotten 4 already from that.
Okay.
Same, I'm getting the same comment.
Edward?
I do not have anything, Mayor, this evening.
Michael?
I'll do my report from here. About, oh God, I'm losing my track of time. About 2 weeks ago, it was a week ago, actually, the elections were held for the police unionization. They were administered by PERC, the Public Employee Relations Commission. The results of the election were actually a tie. between the three elements. So I believe the totals were 19 votes in favor of joining the Fraternal Order of Police, 19 votes against unionization, and 2 votes for joining the other. right now,
FOP.
The FOP.
Yeah, 17,
No, FOP is the first one.
17,
It would-
17, and 2.
Right, 17-17-2 was the ultimate vote total. With there being a tie, then a runoff is held by, and still administered by the state by PERC. They will give us a new date for the runoff election. The runoff election will only have 2 choices, which is FOP or or a no vote for unionization.
No, it's PBA or
PBA,
no vote.
getting my votes.
I'm
No,
sorry,
I-
so what, I'm
Yeah,
sorry, what are
PBA
they
was
voting
the-
for?
yes.
This is for the unionization.
No, I know, with the police. One is FOP
One,
and the other.
there was the.
PBA.
PBA, I'm trying
Had
to remember, PBA
17.
was the original party.
Correct.
FOP intervened to also be another choice for the officers to choose as their bargaining unit. So there was an election, the officers had to choose either FOP, PBA, or a no vote. The results of the election were a tie with the 2 larger vote getters, I believe, being
PBA and no vote.
and no vote. So there
So-
will,
Okay, so my question is this, because, you know, I'm a former police officer and I know about unions. How were the ballots provided to the individual
the state
officers?
administers the ballots. They are, the state PERC, the Public Employee Relations Commission, mailed the ballots to our office. They were distributed to each officer.
How were
That
they
the-
distributed?
They were
to
just
them?
they were distributed as part of the, this was all, and of course, this was actually in agreement with PERC. We did discuss how they were to be distributed. I believe each officer received their ballot at the time of their shift changes or when they were meeting their shift meetings. Every officer did receive their ballot. We had a set amount of ballots, and the ballots were only on those that were eligible to vote, which was the ranks of officers and lead officers were the eligible party to vote.
I'm sorry, I didn't,
Right.
and if it was put into their mailboxes?
Yes, the state is the one who monitors the election. We gave everything to them.
Okay.
There was no question as to the validity or any
And
questions
the
as
reason
to
why
the
I'm
election.
asking that is because 17 and 17 is 34 and 2 is 36.
There were many officers who cast no vote. I believe it was 80 total was the amounts. So
83 or
over
84?
half of the officers did not vote.
84.
Okay,
84
so,
votes, yeah.
so when they're, because I'm, you know, you hear different things. So when they received their ballots, it was just their ballots.
They just received the ballot. They placed the ballot in an envelope provided to them by the state of Florida. The ballot is mailed to the state of Florida. And the vote
Okay.
tabulation is actually done by PERC in Tallahassee.
So, okay, so when they did their ballot, was it placed back in a sealed envelope?
We were provided all of the ballots. Everything was provided to us by the state. We gave them packet that the state provided us to give to the officers. At that point, it's within the officer's control to fill in the ballot, sign the ballot, seal the ballot, and send it to Tallahassee. We do not, the city,
So that's how it was done?
that's how the state mandates it to be done.
Okay, so
So
each of them were given their ballot
They were
at the
given their
beginning of
ballots, and then it's
shift.
their responsibility.
Okay.
The state operates the election, the city is
They
not
had
involved in the
nothing-
administration.
okay.
Nope. City.
They did not do any administrating of the ballots?
No,
and that?
the only thing we did was hand the ballots to the officers. That is it. Once the ballot is filled out, the ballot is actually sealed and mailed to the Public Employee Relations Commission where the vote is tabulated. The vote was tabulated in Tallahassee. There was a conference call done at the time of the tabulation, and we received the numbers of the votes from Tallahassee. So we were not, the city is not involved in the tabulation of votes whatsoever. That is an operation conducted by the state of Florida.
How does the runoff now work?
So the runoff will be between the 2 largest vote getters, which would be PBA, I'm getting, sorry. It would be PBA and the no selection. So now the ballots, PERC will reschedule an election. PERC will send us ballots again to be distributed to all the eligible officers. And the vote will be retaken and resubmitted to Tallahassee for retabulation and for then the results to come in.
So now, again, I'm just kind of, because of things I have heard, did we provide a letter to each officer regarding the union? Did we?
The city
provide-
the city under Florida statutes has the same First Amendment rights as the police officers.
Okay.
And therefore, the city can provide educational materials, can provide information, as long as the information provided by the city is neither coercive or any type of false promises. The city is within its rights to provide any information available to it, to its officers under Florida statutes. And then that was we are under our rights. We provided counsel from our labor council, who
Right.
provided us with, basically, it's the form notice that's provided to every other city that has undertaken a collective first of all, a certification process, first of all, which is just simply the information that the city can provide to the officers for them to take into consideration, just like union representatives can give them information to take into consideration. The information was neither coercive, nor did it promise any benefits or any type of, there were no promises done as part. It was simply informative and educational as to the process of forming a bargaining unit.
Let me ask you, are we privy to that letter that
Sure,
was sent to them?
I'll
It's
send
a
it
public,
to
yeah,
you. That was from me.
it's a public record. It was given to all the employees, and
Okay.
you can request a copy of it. There's
It
nothing.
came from me,
there's-
it was, a lot of it was written by our labor attorney, and then I added a few local
there's-
things to it, so.
There's
yeah,
no secret.
happy
It's
to
a
get it
public
to you.
record.
Yep.
Okay. Only because I just find it so unusual that it was a tie, and that we have X amount of police officers, and that so little even considered it.
I can never prejudge
I
the
mean,
actions
it
of
would
the
have been,
electorate.
I mean, it would have been for me if more had said no, then it would have been something in the majority, but, something of this level being
those-
decided by just, 34 out of 109, I'm not.
Well, no, it was 84.
84.
Were the eligible because of the classifications that received the certification. Currently going through the process now is a second certification process for sergeants, and that's going through the same process that the firefighters are going through also now. That's in the preliminary stages. The first one that's been completed was the officers and lead officers. That's the category for this current
Bargaining
proposed
units.
bargaining unit.
Okay.
Okay, good.
Well, thank you for giving me the
Okay.
information that I needed, or to verify the information. Thank
Yeah,
you.
I only had one procedural question. So with that in mind, is there any threshold for it to be a valid?
Nope.
Okay.
No,
So
once
whoever decides
if
to actually
votes
cast the vote is going
if-
to decide for the people that don't.
that is one of the educational some of the information that was provided is that let's just say theoretically we have a runoff and 5 people vote. Those 5 people will decide whether
Right.
the department is unionized or not. If it's a 3-2 vote one way or another, it's not based on the majority of the group. It's based on the number of ballots that are submitted to the state and tabulated by the state.
That's-
So, and the second item for the update, I just received information. Prior to my arrival here, we did become involved in the Purdue Pharmaceutical class action lawsuit involving opioid and their bankruptcy. Recently, Purdue has submitted a settlement agreement to the bankruptcy court, and the amount of the proposed settlement agreement is $7 billion in total. $5 billion of those dollars are going to be allocated to local governments who are parties to the bankruptcy. That's the somewhat good news. The now indifferent news is that doesn't mean we're going to be getting a share of that $5 billion anytime soon. Nationwide, it's a national bankruptcy, and the payments are being agreed upon between the parties and the state attorney generals. As of our counsel involved in this action has stated to us now that there isn't any finalized agreements between the local governments and the state of Florida Attorney General's office for how the allocation is going to be. But we're looking at most likely there's going to be some form of an allocation from this about $5 billion pool to the local governments. But the payments are supposedly stretched out over 9 years, and we are still, the AR Council, on behalf of multiple jurisdictions in the state of Florida, will be negotiating on our behalf with the Attorney General's office for the allocation and percentages of funds that we would be entitled to as part of the Purdue Pharma bankruptcy. I just wanted to give you an update on that.
But don't hold your breath.
Yeah, no.
No. Yes.
Especially you, Michael, right now.
Yeah, I know.
Oh,
That's it for now.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I tell you what, he was working from the hospital, working from home, and he's he was a trooper, working through COVID.
The nurses were not pleased at the sight of my laptop on a hospital bed, I can tell you that.
So anyway, we thank you, Michael. All right, under Mayor's report, couple things. Kate Manley will be the new Robert Agrusa. She's coming via Habitat for Humanity in St. Joseph, Missouri. Got to meet with her, had dinner with her a couple of weeks ago. Charming lady. I think will do a great job. Had some great references from folks here in Seminole County. So she came from Seminole County, went back to Missouri, and doesn't like the weather and wants to come back and be a part of in Central Florida. So we're excited to partner with her when she gets here, and so she'll be here the middle of April. Not sure. She's waiting on there's a wedding. So as soon as that, we told her wait till the wedding's over. So she'll be here within the month. So hopefully you'll welcome her, and we look forward to some great things. Okay, COVID-19, I've got the numbers there, but I do want a big shout out to Rebecca Stewart, Johanna Gonzalez, and Jennifer from Community Development were our go-to girls for all the phone calls that we were taking for the vaccination. So it was interesting how this all happened. Is we got a call from the emergency management about last Friday, and said, when would you like to do vaccination? And I said, how about and this was like on a Tuesday, so by Friday we were vaccinating. So the girls stepped right up, really helped us get take in the calls, get the people signed up, and we did, I think, 300, right at 266 is what we did last Friday. For this Thursday and Friday, we've already got 403 registered for Thursday and 102 for Friday. So we'll have done almost 1,000 vaccinations here in these 3-day periods. So I want to thank emergency management, thank Orange County and DOH for giving us the opportunity to vaccinate the folks here in Northwest Orange County. Obviously, Apopka residents and anybody else is eligible. We do have a few more spots, so if you got anybody, so here's the criteria. It's 60 and over, anybody in healthcare, anybody in education, anybody in daycare, and all firefighters, police officers. I think that's it. So if you think somebody would like to get a vaccination, it's Thursday and Friday. Thursday's pretty full. Friday morning is pretty open. So call a number 703. What? On the website? Okay.
It's 1750?
1750.
Yeah.
What was the number for this Friday again?
Friday, we've got 102.
I'm
got
sorry,
102
Thursday.
Friday.
Thursday was
403.
That's right. Okay.
So we can do up to 500. I don't know where the spots are. Are we pretty full? Okay, 400 is full. Okay, so what we've got left is Friday. But anyway, it ran really smooth. For anybody that was able to go over and look, Friday just ran really smooth. Our National Guard came in, stepped in, helped us. Captain Sanchez stepped up and the team, and so did a really nice job. I think they were impressed. We were impressed, and so hopefully this Thursday and Friday will be the same. So thanks to the team, and it was a team effort. We had everybody, helping with phones, and we had police and fire and community development. Everybody was, pitching in to make last week's vaccination and this week's vaccination work. So thank you, everybody out there that helped and was a part of that.
I'm one of the 403.
There you go.
I made an appointment.
And along that, it's interesting, if you look at our our website, the Apopka website, we had, in January and February, had about 30,000 visitors and 90,000 views. And already since March 1st, we've had 20,000 unique visitors, but 60,000 pages. So a lot of that extra traffic is being driven by the COVID vaccinations that we're giving out. So pretty interesting, the amount of traffic we've gotten. Hometown Showcase concert, everything looks great. It's really neat. Some good friends of mine, Johnny and the Moondogs, have teamed up with Jeremiah S. Williams, and so they're going to be, it's going to be a neat concert. They're going to be right up. They'll be the last before our headliner. So we're excited about that. Brittany Callahan. So should be a great event. We've got a barbecue event. I think we're up to 60 teams according to John Hanson. Really doing great. A cornhole tournament put on by the Elks. We've got the Wekiva High School culinary team is going to be selling some barbecue sauces and hot sauces. Probably doing a little demonstration for us there on the stage. We're going to have T-shirts for sale and going to have fireworks. We got enough sponsors. I was out hustling trying to get a few sponsors, so we're excited to have fireworks. Also got Chad Cribb and Bobby Sanders along with those folks. Next up, prayer breakfast. Put it on your calendar. It will be Thursday, May 6th from 7 a.m. to 8:30. Still working on the details. The letters should go out this week to the elected officials. Obviously, it's a big event that we're well known for, and I think it's a tribute to our ministerial alliance, and thanks for all their help. We'll also have the noon prayer service on the steps of City Hall, 12 o'clock noon. So for those that can't make maybe the breakfast, come on down for the prayer service in front of City Hall. The distributed wastewater treatment systems, we're going to have a kind of a groundbreaking on Friday, 2 o'clock. It'll be in Wekiva Glen. We've got folks coming from St. John's Water Management, DEP, the Parks Department, as in the state parks, some friends of Wekiva. So it should be a kind of a culmination of a lot of work from staff and our attorneys and everybody to get us to a point where we're going to have some systems in the ground that will reduce the nitrogen and phosphorus footprint of houses in that neighborhood where we've got extra large lots. Camp Weewa update. Unfortunately, no update. We made the offer. I have not heard not one word from the YMCA folks. So we're waiting to see what happens. We'll as soon as we hear something, we will absolutely keep everybody posted. The last thing, water levels, which you've all got, just wanted to share that with you. That's from Orange County. They monitor, I think it's every week. They do monitor the lake levels just to give you some reference on when we had the high water marks and as things start to recede. So with that, I think we've accomplished a lot tonight. Thank you.